Hello, traders. God bless you today. Happy Wednesday, June 12th. Let's go over some markets here. I want to get you introduced to looking at the expected high-low indicator, and it's a data mining tool which helps you get a long-term bias for the day. We want to see when prices hit specific levels. In this case, we're looking at classic floor pivots like R1 and S1. The indicator, we can data mine a couple of different levels like R2, S2, R3, S3, but R1, S1 gets the most signals and gives us a really good edge in the market. We can also look at evaluating prior day high and low as levels as well. But let's take a look at this. Here's a chart of the MCL. You know what? Before I do that, though, I want to go over just the basic rules. This is the rule set for the expected high-low calculator. Uh, some of you were asking when do we actually go long or short in this strategy and when do we get out? So just to be clear, so the expected high-low, it's a very simple analysis. You between the session start time and the session end time, you're prepared to buy when price pushes down to the S1 level or sell when it runs up into R1. So that's the entry conditions between the session start and end time, buy or sell at those levels. Number two is you hold the position, no stop loss until until the go flat time. So there's a time, I think it's 1550 in this analysis, where you exit the position. Now, this is just theoretical. We don't want you to trade without a stop loss because obviously the downside is significant. So this analysis is done without a stop loss, though, just to see what would happen and see if we can make any sense out of the numbers. You definitely want to trade with a stop loss and preferably a very small one. Limit your downsides, limit your loss, and let your winners run. Any one trade should not blow out your account. No trades should blow out your account. If you risk small, your mathematical chances of success increase greatly. And the last ones here are 3A and 3B. If you're currently long from S1, your exit target is R1. So you're going to sell when you hit the upper resistance level. And if you're currently short from R1, your exit target is S1. So very simple rules. That's what this analysis does. So let's take a look and see how profitable those signals are. So we're taking a look at Wednesdays here. And Wednesdays for the MCL is when you go long at S1, they buy at S1, it's actually a very bad proposition. We win 37% of the time. So conversely, we're winning 63% of the time if we go short at S1. So that's what that's telling us. Now shorts, we have 50-50 win percent. The average trade is $44. Profit factor of 2.2, so that's not too bad. So if we go short at R1, again, between the start and stop times of the session, we do see, 50-50 chance. We have 14 wins, 14 losses. Let's take a look at another market. So the idea here is, summarizing this, I would prefer to go short when we hit S1. Now, if we hit S1, then what it's telling us is that it typically moves lower. It typically moves lower from that point. And that is something to give consideration for. Because if we do hit that support, you might want to be looking for a bias short. That's what you want to do in the crude market. Now, it varies for every market. We're looking at 71 tradable days, so 71 Wednesdays. So this is only looking at Wednesday data, and we have that kind of bias. So if we hit support 1, I would be considering staying short or looking for short signals in whatever system you're trading. And conversely, if we hit the upside, with the R1 sell level, that's a 50-50 proposition, but usually we get a really good profit factor on that. So the winners are are 2.2 times the losers' sums. So something to consider. If we do go short at R1, that's not a bad proposition. Right now we're above the R1 level. And the strategy waits until you hit R1. So if price never hits R1 today, I wouldn't be considered short. I wouldn't consider going short. It has to hit R1 between the start and end times of the session. So in this case, the start time is between 8 o'clock and 15:30. Anytime between there, if we hit R1, then we are going to go short. That's our goal, or look for short signals. All right, let's go to take a look at, this is copper, HG. Copper is interesting on Wednesdays, isn't it? And if we go long at our support one, we have a 50-50 win rate, but the average trade is 176 bucks. So the profit factor is 1.4. The average adverse excursion is $325. So we go to the bad side, $325 on average, but the favorable excursion is $392. Conversely, if we go short, we're looking at a pretty good win rate, 67% of the time. If we hit R1 between 8 o'clock and 15:30, prices close, or we have a win rate of 67%. Average trade is 585. So on Wednesdays, if we can get up to R1, definitely consider short signals on whatever strategy you're following. Many of you are familiar with Monte Carlo analysis, but if you're not, I just want to go quickly into that. Monte Carlo is a way of taking a large number of occurrences of something, and you take a small sample set of those occurrences. So we're looking at all of our trades. We have 45 trades in this analysis. We're only going to take 22 of those 45 trades at a time. And we're going to do that 100 times, 100 simulations. And we're going to find out of those 22 samples, we're going to add up on simulation number one, we're going to add up the P&L if we were to take just 22 trades. And what's the P&L for those 22 trades? Then we take another set of 22 trades by random, and we add those up and see what the P&L is. And we get 100 different P&Ls. And if we do that, we find out that 96% of those have a positive P&L. That's very significant. Just trading this system, we have a 96% possibility of being above zero. Now that's good. The worst P&L of that set of 100 was $1,600. So we did have one simulation that was a loss of $1,600. But the best simulation totaled $10,008. And the average was 438 and the median was 1675. So these are really good numbers. 96% chance of being positive and a really good chance of an average positive number. So definitely want to look at copper at these levels. All right, so let's take a look now at silver. Silver is longs. We have a 50-50 chance of the S1, but the average trade finishes at 495 positive. The shorts are a 57% winner, but the amount of the win is not enough compared to the amount of a loss. The adverse excursion is 1,100 bucks. If favorable is 923. Profit factor is 0.7. So something to think about. If we hit the short level, which is R1, that's a mixed bag. I mean, it's telling us that we more often finish long, and that's not a bad idea. More than often we finish above R1. So I would think about looking for longs. However, 57% of the time, the prices do close below R1. So if you're going long, you don't want to be long for too much. I would go for short targets because chances are, probability is it will close below R1 at the end of the day, or if it hits S1. Okay, let's take a look. We've got 11 minutes until the start at 8 o'clock, so something to keep in mind. Bitcoin, if you're a Bitcoin trader, Wednesdays are really good for running the system. So buying at S1, we do 16 wins, 10 losses. So 62% of the time we're doing the right move. Profit factor is not too bad. Average trade is 749. We do have a good amount of adverse excursion. Again, this is Bitcoin futures. Maximum drawdown is pretty heavy at $27,000. So, I mean, still on average every day you're making 252 bucks, but drawdowns can be significant. Now, again, this is looking over the last 71 weeks uh, involved. So, of those 71 days, Wednesdays, we've traded 40 of them. So, you only get a signal about once every other day. Monte Carlo shows a 56% probability of following this plan of being in positive. So it's kind of volatile. It's very volatile. Certainly, you would want to be running very tight stops on if you trade the Bitcoin futures. 6B, we don't look at that one too often. On average, we're making 20 bucks a day per contract. Drawdown is small. 68% probability of a positive P&L just by following the simple rules for entry and exit. So we're coming up on the start of the day here, 9.5 minutes. We might be hitting the sell level very shortly after 8 o'clock. We only have a 46% win rate going short. So I don't know. That's kind of a middle of the road thing. If we really move high and break through R1 after 8 o'clock, I would look for short signals after a big move. And then because the higher we are in the move, the more space you have to come back down and hit the R1. Again, probabilities are what they are, and take them into consideration. And um, you can certainly lose, so you definitely want to keep your stops smart. Okay, 6E, always want to use smart stops, right? 6E likes to break out on Wednesdays. Look at that. So if we hit the short signal, R1 sell, we've only gone short successfully 8 times. We've lost that trade 17 times. So you got a 1 out of 3 chance of winning a short signal from here if it hits there. You've got a 2 in 3 chance of winning a long trade. So these breakouts from R1 are pretty significant. Same thing with the longs. If we hit the buy level, we have 12 wins and 15 losses, so 44% win rate. So the 6E, and when it trends, it's a mover. Again, we've got 50 Wednesdays that actually had trades in them. And if we just follow these signals, we're losing 4,500 bucks. So that's pretty significant. 4% probability of getting a positive P&L. So this is definitely a counter. This is not a reversion trade here on the 6E on Wednesdays. All right, ZL. Not many people are looking at ZL. I like to look at the ags. ZL is soybean oil. So let's take a look. If we hit the long signal at the buy level, we are 48% winners. On the shorts, though, we're at 63% winners. Something to look at. If we get above the sell level, if we hit that, get above it, start looking for breakdowns going short again. So pretty green, pretty green. Maximum drawdown is 2,700 bucks. 75% probability of a winner. Okay, let's go now. I know you're all interested in the NASDAQ, so let's take a look at that. Let's see where our R1 and S1 are. So we're kind of far out. Obviously, at the open, NASDAQ can be a big mover. Again, the longs are 45% winning proposition. So if we hit S1, only 45% of the time have we been successful on long trades. Interesting number given that the Nasdaq has been on a pretty good up move in the last 72 weeks. Um, Interesting. So going long at S1 is not a smart idea. Not a smart idea. If we hit short, on average, hold on to that trade. If we hit short, if we go short at S1, we're winning $400 on average per trade over the last 70, well, 54 Wednesdays qualify as trade days. All right, so something to think about. If we hit the long signal, I would look for further breakdown, right, to the downside. The maximum adverse excursion is $1,300. So on average, we move $1,300 below S1. That's what that's saying. Shorts, not a bad idea. Look at that, 17 wins out of 11 and 11 losses going short. So when we hit R1, I mean, if the market blasts through R1, I would look for short signals. If we move up here to, 19,400 on NASDAQ or higher, look for short signals and something to think about for doing that. Now, if we just follow the signals, the default set of signals, we are winning $6,600. We're earning 6,600. Our wins are 52% win rate. Monte Carlo analysis showing a 69% probability of a positive P&L based on the 61 trades we're taking. So not too bad, not too bad. I mean, for the Nasdaq, $123 is a flick of a is a momentary move in the Nasdaq. So something to consider. You really want to be looking for those oversized moves. The shorts, once we hit a short signal, I want to see it move above there a little bit before I start considering going short. Longs, it seems like the Nasdaq plummets on Wednesdays, so something to keep in mind. The drawdown for the straight set of rules are $15,000. So it's hard to hold on to these trades, and in the default rule set. All right, take a look at the YM. What's the story with YM? Shorts are a good proposition, like they were on Nasdaq. So 63% winners going short. Profit factor is 1.6. So if we just look at shorts, the average is $337 per day. If we just went short on the last 71 tradable days, here's some times. I don't really talk much about the hour of day, but here's a breakdown of how the trades worked out when you enter the signal on the hour of day that it's entered. So if you entered between 8 and 8:30, the 8 o'clock to 8:30 range, that's pretty profitable. It's a 100% win rate. And only 2 times did it do that for a gain of $1,267. Okay, so we've had 2 trades that entered a signal between 8 and 8:30, and they gained us $1,200. 8:30 to 9 o'clock is the next category, so that's $975. We have a 3-win, 1-loss rate. 9:30 to 10 o'clock, so right after the open, between 9:30 and 10, if we hit the short signal, R1, we have a $2,200 win rate. Not too bad. I mean, the number of occurrences is pretty small, and that's what makes this table a little misleading. You want a lot of data in order to really justify this, I think. Now, if we hit it between 10 and 10:30, we had 1 loss for 467. When 10:30 to 11, we had 1 loss for 707. So some small losses. 11 o'clock to 11:30. If we hit then, we get go short. That's 2 wins, 1 loss for that net. Now, we don't see any trades that occurred between 11:30 and 12:30. So for that hour, the market has not hit R1 between those times. So there you go. That's a summary. Now, that's interesting. 14:30. So at 2:30 to 3 o'clock, if we hit R1, we have a 2-win rate, 2 no losses for $1,100. So end of day, 2 to 3 o'clock. Interesting look there. Probability of P&L on shorts only is 83%. The drawdown, I don't show that here on the shorts. Some good numbers there. Good numbers there. So something to consider for the YM. All right, everybody likes heating oil. It's such a monster. So heating oil. I have hour of day turned off for heating oil, but um, it's a breakout day in heating oil. Longs above R1. So if we went short at R1, we won 15, lost 18, average loss of 421. So you want to be looking, uh, I'm sorry, longs here. This buy signal, buy level S1, you want to be short on the S1. Now, when it says go short, look at that, 29% win rate. If we hit R1 during the session, we only win, if we go short at R1, we only win 29% of the time. So that's telling us we have a 71% chance of winning if we go long at R1. We have a good chance. Look at the market, we're already drifting above R1. So in the next few minutes, if we come down, it just turned 8 o'clock, so the signals are active now. If we hit R1 in the next, one of the settings in the indicator is the ability to turn on or off the higher hour of day uh, table. Let's take a look at that. Look at that. Some really good times. If we hit it between 9 and 9:30, we've lost 6 times. That's something to think about. This signal, if we hit between 9 and 9:30, is a failure. Uh, this is where the breakout occurs. So let's look at only shorts right now. Because right now we're so high above the market, shorts are in play. Again, 9 to 9:30. You don't want to be going short. That's a killer. 4 losses. So I keep an eye out on this one at 9 and 9:30. Also 10:30 to 11. Huge amount of money lost there on the drawdown. 0 out of 5 occurrences. So 5 losses. That's some good numbers. Now look at this. If we hit between 8 and 8:30 or between 8 and 9, it's a $7,800 win. So if we get it in the next hour, between 8 and 9, we have a higher probability of this signal being valid. That's what that's saying. Interesting. Very interesting. Good numbers. All right, let's take a look. Let's switch over. One last market. We'll take a look at natural gas. If you have another market you guys want to investigate, please feel free to drop it in there, and we can take a look at it next time. All right, folks, here we go. So natural gas is a loser on the 8 o'clock time. $2,000 we lose on average. Uh, so the longs, in general, are losers. 35% win rate on the longs. I'm going to take a look now. Let's only look exclusively at the longs. So 35% win rate. 35% win rate on the longs. 8 o'clock to 8:30, definitely not a good time. There's very little good going long here. Very little. So if we do hit the buy level, I would consider looking for short signals on that. Very low probability of profit on longs today, so I would really consider that. So natural gas, really good market to look at. Definitely has been a winner for us in the expected high-low game. All right, that's about all I have for today. I wish you all the best today in your trading. I would love to hear feedback from you on this analysis technique. Let me know if this information is helpful. If you have any questions, I would entertain them gladly. And send me any market you want to look at. I've got futures data. Stocks would be kind of an issue. We can definitely look at stocks. I just need to get some data for that, obviously. But been great. Let me know if you need anything else. Happy to help you with anything. All right. Thanks again. Have a great day.